Hi there. These hands are going to be the star of the show today. I am going to be doing pour painting, so I'm going to beat these hands up a little bit with some paint, get them all sorts of messy so that we can get some artwork flowing. To start us off, I want to show you some stuff that I've done previously because pour painting is something that I have done quite regularly. I think I spent almost a year doing this process. And all of these that I'm going to show you here that I have done, they all have a really thick glossy coat on them. So you can see my light shining through, but it's easier for you to see them when they're up close like this. So don't mind my ring light. I love this one. I used red, yellow, and blue, and somehow it turned out looking pink and green, which I think is just so cool. Those bubbles that you see are called cells. So in this one, there isn't many cells, and that's because I didn't know to use silicone. So these are all different times that I did these paintings with all different materials. So I'm going to show you how to do this yourself, and we're just going to kind of make it up as we go. This is another one of my favorites. It doesn't have a lot of big cells in it, but the way that the colors blended together, I just think is so beautiful. I just use the colors of the rainbow and they just kind of mix themselves together. This next one reminds me of Lisa Frank, which I am obsessed with. So it's all the neon colors, but again, just using the colors of the rainbow. And then certain colors like to take over just depending on which way you put them in the cup. So you kind of end up with whatever the universe decides for you. It's really cool to just see how different they all turn out. I love it. Now let's get started. So first you're going to need some canvases. I got these at the dollar store. They're 8x10 canvases. They all come in this individual plastic wrap. You can get bigger selections of them at Michael's. You can get all different brands and they come in big packs. Check the description and I will put links to different things that you can order online to have delivered to you if you don't want to go to stores right now with everything that's going on. So be sure to check that out. I'm going to do 3 of these today. So here is my 3 canvases and we'll get going. For those of you who don't know me, ASMR is my nightmare. But anyways, this is Floetrol. It helps with the pouring process. I didn't start using this until later into the process when people are actually purchasing art. So you don't need it, but you also need water. So I just like to have water handy. Here's a basket that I hold all of my extra tools. So popsicle sticks for stirring, sprinkles, or not sprinkles, glitters to add into the paint, palette knives, some tacks, all the little things that you need to kind of have handy when you're doing pour painting. And then also you're going to want some extra things. So this is just a bottle with some dish soap. You'll see that later. That kind of adds a cool thing. This is what I used to use instead of Floetrol. So I would mix Elmer's glue and water and it creates a consistency of honey, which you want. Here's a thing full of tacks. You need a bunch of tacks. There's other options if you don't have those. These cups are super necessary for pouring on these small canvases. You want the small cups. These are some strainers that I've used in the past. And I think I'm going to pull one of those out just to try it out on this new set of canvases. This is an embossing heat tool and most people use a torch. I think a torch works better, but this is just a heating tool that I have. And so I like to use it to try and create cells. Then I use this pure silk. It's like a hair body oil thing. I don't know. I think it kind of changes up the way things go. And then I have these little bottles. They're old tie-dye bottles, and I use them to put all of my liquid pouring paint once I've mixed it all together. So I've got this bigger size from Walmart, I think. Or no, that was from a craft store. And these barbecue sauce holders are from Walmart. Okay, let's be honest. I like things to be clean. It really bothers me when my space is all messy. So I take the lid to my bin and I put a trash bag over it. That way, all of the paint collects in an area that has a lip on the edge. So here I'm going to show you what I'm doing. I'm mixing Floetrol, water, some of that silk oil, and then paints together for this first trial run. I haven't done pour painting in about a year, so I remember that it needs to be the consistency of honey, but this blue one ended up being so watery. But we're just going to give this one a shot. We're going to do a dirty pour. So we're just going to pour the colors in, layering them on top of each other. And I already noticed that the blue is just way too watery. So here I'm going to take the canvas and I'm going to put the pins in it and flip this upside down. And we're just going to let this slide around the canvas. Notice how red it is because it does not stay that red. I spray this dish soap on this canvas and the whole thing turns blue. So that blue just ate right through whatever was in that blue, just really took over. I'm excited for you guys to see how it dried because it doesn't look anything like this anymore. The transformation is insane. This heat tool helped the cells to build and to grow. So here is the final product. It is so funny how different it looks. I mean, it started out completely red and yellow, and it's become almost entirely blue. So what happened was that blue must have been so watered down, like I was saying, it was so watery, that once that dish soap hit it, it caused it to react and build right through that red and yellow. So this is after a day of letting it sit and dry. And this is really cool right here. This must have been where the initial spread started to happen. It has that cool watered look. Yes, Drax? Yeah? And then you see the red and the yellow up in this corner, but most of the blue just took over. So normally I would put a really high gloss finish on it, but you guys saw how crazy the originals looked when I put that gloss finish on it. So this one, I don't know if I would put a gloss finish over it. This might be one that I look at and see it as being not the best looking pour painting. So this was a dirty pour and it turned out okay, but I think I might hold on to this one. This might go into my bin of items to redo on a show. Comment below if you want to see me redo. Hi, Drax. Yeah, hi. Comment below if you want to see me redo any of my projects that don't turn out great, and I'm happy to do that. Yes, Drax. Okay, so here comes the next one. Here I'm putting the pins in the back so that it can pour over clearly. And for this one, look at how many paints I have. These are all the colors I've used in the past. I have so many different colors to choose from. So I'm just going to pick a couple of my favorites. I love this bright pink. This is a neon yellow that's super watery, which should make it look cool. And here's a bright blue that I like. I'm going to go ahead and use those ones. I'm going to do something similar to last time, so I'm going to add these colors in. I added some white in there, and I'm just going to layer them over. Notice when I pour the yellow in, it looks really cool. I think that wateriness is really going to help. So I'm just going to pour this over, make a little design, try and empty the cup as much as I can. And then, God, look how cool that color looks. And then I'm just going to move it around. I'm going to let this slide over the canvas and just see what comes of it. I'm noticing that there's a lot of blue on that left side. I'm going to take my popsicle stick And just adjust the edges. Make sure that the paint gets all the way to the edge. Sometimes you have to do this if you don't have quite enough paint, and it doesn't seem like I'm going to have enough paint, so I really need to kind of fudge those edges. As I'm tilting and kind of adjusting the edges, you have to be careful not to put too much pressure on the paint because it starts to blend them together. You just want to help pull it all the way to the edge there. I'm really noticing at this point that there really isn't enough paint. So I'm having to help it out a lot on the edges. The first one, I think because the blue was so watery, it helped it to pour really fast. I also think my mixture in the first one wasn't great. I'm hoping that this one keeps more of that marbled look that we lost in that first one. So here, I'm just going to keep adjusting these edges. I have to help it out as much as possible because I want it to completely cover the canvas. If you have extra paint in the cup, it's nice because you can just fill in those gaps and it helps it to run more and it helps it to keep from stretching too far. Notice how that right side is really stretching and it's creating a really pretty olive color. If you don't want that to happen, you just mix up some more paint and add it into the spots. But I wanted to use what I had and just see what the results would be. One thing that's super beautiful about these paintings is how shiny and pretty they are when you first pour them. And like those examples that I showed you that I've done in the past, if you put a thick coat of glaze over top, it gives it that beautiful shine that you want to see. Here I'm just pouring it over, and once it dries, it will become matte. So once it's completely dry, you can add that layer over so that you can see all the beautiful colors stand out. I wanted to hit this with a heat tool, see if I could make any of those cells expand a little bit more. Because that right side is so stretched, I don't think anything's really going to happen there, but we'll see. Sometimes when they dry, they develop new cells, so that would be super awesome to see. I'm not really sure. It's looking like a lot of cells are going to develop in that purple area, so I can't wait to see what that looks like. Here I just hit it with a little bit of the soap and water combination to maybe see if we can have a little bit of something happen here. With the heat tool, it's not doing too much more, so we'll see. Once I completely finish them, I always take them to the garage because Drax likes to find a way to get in and mess with my projects. Okay, y'all, number 2 turned out so cool. It's almost like there was 2 completely different cups. It's like this was the pink, blue, and white cup, and this is that green, blue, yellow. So it's so crazy how separated that looks when really it was just one cup and we just poured it over this way and then let it move around. So clearly it was layered in the cup in a really cool way, but I think this one's super awesome. Like I said before, I don't have that thick clear coat on there because when I show you them here, you can see my lighting and all of that. So I haven't put a clear coat on it, but I think this one I will. This one I think I will hang up in my art room as a display for you guys to see, a little reminder. I'll go ahead and clean up these edges. So I'll go in with paint and paint those over either white or black. Lots of times people will take the paint and kind of smudge it across, but I didn't make a big enough cup full of paint, so there wasn't enough to really get it to fully cover the edges. But this one I'm just super happy with. I think it's so cool. It's got the cells, which are nice, and then it has that marbled look. I'm just really excited about how this one turned out. This time I was smart and I just left the painting in the garage and I brought the tray back up, but look at what I found. When I pulled the canvas off, we have the lone survivor. The pins stuck to the paint. So here I have my new canvas and I put all the pins in. Now I'm going to use 8 different colors. So I have like a bright neon set here. It's basically all of the colors of the rainbow plus teal, a little bit of pink, and we are in business. We got all the colors here. We're going to try using all 8. So I'm going to fill 2 cups. I'm assuming that I will need a little more because I want to use this strainer. I've used it in the past. It's the one that made the Lisa Frank one look so cool, but I can't remember how I did that one, so I'm just using the cup. Here I have to figure out how to hold this thing. There we go. And I'm just going to pour this cup right over top. We're going to see how it goes. This lid is slanted, so the paint just slid way over to that right side, so I had to be quick. I ended up taking the second cup and pouring it over on this side because all of the paint was about to drain off of the other side. Once I finally started to move this around, the paint had a lot of movement, so these must have been much more watery than the other ones I had used, and it was able to cover the entire canvas super easy. This one had a lot of cells. When I used that heat tool, it really started to make those cells come to life. I didn't use the soap on this one because there were so many nice bubbles showing through. And when I finished, look at who's still surviving down there in the flood of paint. The lone survivor. Okay, so after all of that work, using that strainer, using all 8 colors, this is how it dried. So the color that came through the most was that teal color, which is so beautiful. And then what's so interesting is in some places, there's almost white dots. It's almost like everything's separated from those points. So I wonder if that's where that oil was sitting. But this one is really cool. Even though it went through that strainer, maybe that's what caused all of these little cells, but there's all of these gaps and bubbles that I think are so pretty, especially down here where the orange starts to poke through. I just think that's so beautiful. For some reason, this reminds me of Van Gogh's Starry Night a little bit, if it was like Rave Culture Starry Night. I don't know. I just think it's really, really pretty. This one I would put a clear coat on top of as well, even though I didn't, so that you guys could see it better. It's interesting because there was a neon pink and a brighter pink, and you don't see much of the pink. This is really the only spot where you see that pink, but I think this one turned out really cool. I think it's so pretty. I looked back at videos of when I used to do this in the past, and when I used that strainer, before I just poured the colors straight into it so they separated and created their own little piles instead of pouring an already mixed cup into the strainer. So I think that makes it look a little bit different too. So I guess technically I've never done one like this before, but I'm very happy with how it turned out. I think it's super pretty. Let me know in the comments which one was your favorite. And if you like this video, I can definitely do more of these. You guys saw how much paint I have, so be sure to like this video and let me know if you want to see more of it. Let me know in the comments what colors, let me know what style, if you want me to try other way. I mean, I think there's like 20 to 30 ways to do this. So if you want to see more, let me know, and I'm happy to do more videos of pour paintings. Here are all 3 of my pour paintings. I had so much fun doing this video. I loved getting to show you guys what it is that I do when I do these pour paintings. I think that this one's probably a redo. I can probably reuse that canvas, but these 2 I just think turned out so beautiful. I'll be sure to put them on my wall for you guys to see them once they have their gloss coat on there. Please be sure to like and subscribe to my page. Thank you guys so much for watching my videos. It means so much to me, and I just really hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. I thought it was so much fun, and please comment. Let me know any colors you want to see next time, and I would love to try out different styles. So if you know of something that works well or a product that looks good, put it in the comments below. I'll be sure to read and look into the different things that you guys have used so that I can show you guys my version of the things that you guys know. I hope that you had fun today, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.